Hi, I'm forum reporter Kim Hyatt, the host of a new true crime podcast called Who Killed Tommy? Today, Thursday, September 20th, marks the 4-year anniversary of the disappearance of 18-year-old Tommy Bierson. Tommy was a freshman, only 4 weeks into nursing school at North Dakota State University when he went mysteriously missing. His body was discovered 3 days later, miles away from his Fargo dorm room on the east side of the Red River in an RV sales lot in Moorhead, Minnesota. Authorities ruled the cause of death as homicidal violence. Little to no information has been shared with the public following the tragic discovery. Besides a suspicious vehicle, Tommy's missing iPhone 5, and left white Nike Air Jordan. Those items are still missing today, and the car turned out to have nothing to do with the case. Now, 4 years later, the public knows as much as they did days following the first reports of him missing.
And local rescue crews are doing everything they can do to find him.
We continue to interview and re-interview a number of people that we believe may have seen this young man last.
Crews spent hours this afternoon boating up and down the Red River, hoping to get any sign of Tom's whereabouts. Canines were sent out trying to get a scent, and hundreds of code red alerts were sent out to people in the main search area, all coming up with nothing.
It's extremely important we do this methodically. We do it by a process because we don't want to miss anything.
Law enforcement hasn't named a single suspect or motive behind the mysterious killing that is still a cause of great pain and angst for the NDSU community and his hometown of Sartell, Minnesota, where he was an all-star basketball player, beloved brother, son, and alumnus of a small Catholic school.
Just an amazing, amazing son. We were so blessed to have him for 18 years.
I always called him my little love bug. He was just the sweetest little guy growing up.
My last spoken words to Tom was he was home here the weekend before. He walked downstairs, he came running downstairs, he did everything fast, and I jumped up out of my chair and I gave him a big hug, and I said, I hugged him, he hugged me, and I said, Tom, I love you so much. I said, you're gonna do great. He said, thanks, Pops, I love you too. Hope the next time I see you, you have hair on your head.
Hearts are heavy within the Bierson family, but they remain faithful in law enforcement to one day solve Tommy's homicide and answering the lingering, painful question, who killed Tommy? And why? How did he die? What happened that tragic night? How did his body end up in an RV sales lot? Was he killed in the lot, or was his body disposed there? What happened to his phone? Why hasn't any new information been released by investigators? What does law enforcement know that the public doesn't? What happened in those 4 short weeks of college that would lead him to a situation in which he would find himself the victim of homicidal violence? And what is homicidal violence? Though police shared that bit of information about the case, there's really no definition of what that means. What method was used to take his life? And did he die that Saturday, or was he alive in those 3 days his family and friends searched for him? Were drugs involved? Alcohol? Did he fight back? What were his last hours of life like, and what sort of pain did he endure? There are more questions than answers.
We're not compromising our investigation by just satisfying curiosities in the public.
Every investigator in the department has had a hand in trying to solve Bierson's homicide, but with hundreds of tips and leads pouring in, sorting the truth from rumor has been like finding the right needles in a dozen haystacks.
What has been incredibly challenging, the main investigators meet almost weekly.
For Bierson's family, every September 20th takes a toll.
It floods back. Everything comes flooding back. We think of Tom hundreds of times a day. I used to love September. Now September is just, it's lost.
Bierson's family issued a statement in 2015 calling on those who last saw their son alive to take polygraph tests, suggesting them that some had not. Greg said the Minnesota BCA, which is running the investigation along with Moorhead Police, told the family that it is, quote, not good timing given what's going on in the investigation right now for this to occur, end quote. But what is going on right now is unclear. Greg said the family may be open to being part of the podcast down the road, quote, "But for now, we are advised to pass and sit tight." But Greg and Debbie didn't sit tight that Saturday when their son never showed up in Sartell to visit. Tommy had plans to leave NDSU to see his family that weekend. Instead, his parents came to Fargo, frantically wondering where he was and what was wrong. They reported their son missing, and a search ensued that spanned from North Dakota to Minnesota.
They're using officers and firemen, canines and search teams, even going door to door, trying to piece together what happened from here.
The communities of Fargo and Moorhead are divided by the Red River, but are generally thought of as one large metro area. Agencies from both states and NDSU, along with students, family, and friends, assisted in the 3-day search that Tommy's parents described as a living hell. The Bierson family has managed to turn unimaginable heartache and unknowns into something uplifting. They started the Tom Bierson Foundation, which awards thousands of dollars in scholarships, host annual golf tournaments and basketball training camps, and a program for high school seniors that promotes safety and responsibility as they enter the new and exciting world of college. At Tommy's Catholic school and church, St. Francis Xavier, the foundation did an $80,000 makeover of the gymnasium that Tommy spent hours playing in. Despite all of this, the family still doesn't have answers as to who killed Tommy. 4 years, and police haven't named a person of interest. There's no reward out there for more information to help solve the case. But as the family awaits answers, they've made it their life's mission to make sure no family has to experience what they did 4 years ago and what they continue to battle with every day since. Had Tommy continued at NDSU, he would likely be graduating this spring. He then had plans to enter a nurse anesthetist program. He'd probably still be playing basketball and golfing in the summer. He'd be on Twitter, his favorite site, sharing his love of sports and sense of humor. The last post from Tommy's Twitter account was a cryptic, chilling one that police have said had nothing to do with his death. It was sent hours before he was last seen alive. Tommy's longtime friend from Sartell, Jake Wenzel, was actually the one who sent the tweet. It said, "Dude, it's Jake. Come pick us up. We are so lost and we are going to die. Just get somebody." Now his friends on social media share photos in sorrow, disbelief, and memories of Tommy each year on his birthday, and many honor him with the hashtag TB1, a nod to his basketball number. In basketball, he was a starting player on the varsity team in Sartell beginning in 9th grade. During his junior year, he helped lead the team to the school's only state tournament as the leading scorer. And as a senior, he scored his 1,000th point. In an interview with the St. Cloud Times about 7 months before he died, Tommy said his pregame routine was going to Subway to get a ham, turkey, and double bacon sandwich. He said he loves sushi, and his favorite TV show was Prison Break. Asked in that interview what competing in athletics meant to him, Tommy said, quote, "That you don't always win, that you need to give 100% and then some, and hopefully everything will fall into place." Although extremely athletic, Tommy was known to those who loved him as being kind, funny, and charming. He loved loud music and dressed well. His parents said that he stayed up late and overslept in the morning like teenagers do. He was arguably the all-American boy, with an idyllic upbringing and his entire life ahead of him. Investigators have the discretion of what information on the case they choose to disclose to the public, and neither the Minnesota BCA or Moorhead Police have any intention of releasing any new information on the unsolved homicide 4 years later. The autopsy, interviews, evidence, and case documents are sealed from public view. Moorhead Police Chief Shannon Monroe said lack of information to the public is done so by design.
Well, yeah, it is an open investigation, and, the most I can say about it is that, when there's information that comes up, that we are still working on anything that does come up, but I wouldn't be able to talk about anything at this point. And, a big part of that, for that reasoning is that, this has gone on this long. It's still an open, active investigation. So there's really nothing we want out there about it, unless it is something specifically that we think we should put out, that we might be able to get help from the public, or just bring the case back to the attention of the public so this isn't forgotten. But I wouldn't be able to sit down and have a discussion about the case.
But one thing is certain, someone knows something. In a statement from Greg Bierson, he shared the feelings and hopes of his family in light of the 4-year anniversary. He said in an email, "We are in regular contact with law enforcement and remain confident that one day there will be justice for our son Tom. This is an active case, and we can't thank law enforcement enough for all their efforts and support of our family." Tom's spirit continues to live on through the hearts of so many people. He will never be forgotten, and his legacy will endure. And Greg ended in his statement, "To the people involved in Tom's death, you will never find peace as long as the knowledge of your guilt is walking beside you everywhere you go and with everyone you meet. Real peace rests with the ability to admit guilt. Until then, who you are is a lie to everyone you meet." In the next episode of Who Killed Tommy, we will retrace his last known whereabouts from September 20th, 4 years ago, starting from his Reed Hall dorm room to a house party where he was last seen alive to the RV sales lot where his body was found.